G'day everybody. Today I'm going to be pulling the valves out of my M54 head. Well, I'm going to be doing some rocker work soon on another video. I figured I gotta get kind of started on prepping ordering parts, so what I did was I went and found, and I'll put the link in the description, I have a 3D printed valve spring compressor for the M50X motor. So that's the M50, M52, M54, which mine is here. This should work on all of them. This is printed out at PLA. If you had saw my short from a couple days ago, I pulled a pair of valves out. It works really well. It hasn't deflected yet. It hasn't cracked, hasn't made any weird noises. So this is working really well for pulling factory ones out. I'm unsure if it would work for very heavy duty aftermarket springs, but I mean, we're gonna learn along the way because I'll probably reuse this because I'm thinking about upgrading my springs and retainers to a little bit heavier since this has 500,000 kilometers on it. These are probably worn out. So I'm gonna flip you around to this. So with this, our piece here, I'm just reusing two of the factory studs that go in here. I have this all blown apart because I took everything apart for it to get dipped. As you can see, or well, I guess hot tanked or whatever they do. As you can see, it's very clean. It was actually very clean to begin with. I had it from 350 to 500,000, oil changes at 8,000 every time. And it is very clean for what is a 2001 M54. But with that, we will take this, put it over top. Obviously, you want to try to get it in as far as you can by hand threading. You don't want to wreck these threads or you're going to be in for a really bad time retapping threads in your head. So this side's a little hard to see. Let's see if I can zoom in. That one did stay up. The other side stayed down. So we'll tip the head over and whack it with the mallet just to pop the valve up. But that side is up. I just use a little pen. Try to knock the keepers free from the valve. They might actually both need. There we go. Just a quick up. As you can see, there's our keepers. As you can see mine are labeled. I'm keeping everything in order. As much as I want to upgrade everything, I am also being cautious that I'm not sure if I'm going to get there yet. Pull that out. It'll go over there, but we're gonna put that to the side. Obviously we have our, they call them a beehive style, but I guess our valve spring. They feel kind of weak, but I'm not much of a engine guy to know if that's weak or not. Got our other one. I've got a pair of needle nose. They're bent. I don't know why they're bent, to be completely honest, but they work really good for removing our valve seals, which these are coming out. They're gonna go right in the garbage. Don't ever reuse them. Usually when you pull them off, you kind of squish and ruin them. Try not to scratch your valves. Really, at this point, you could just knock the valves out through the bottom and then pull these out of the way. That one is on there. But I know most of these are leaking, so it's a good thing that they're going. I believe I'm gonna buy SuperTech valve spring or valve seals, as I've been told they're pretty good. I mean, OEMs are probably just as good. They're about the same price, so then let's zoom you guys back out. Tilt that over. And again, there we have our valves in great looking shape. Honestly, they're nice and shiny like I would assume they should be. The seats here, there's some shiny spots and some spots that aren't so shiny. I'll look at maybe getting these run on a grinder all the way around. We're gonna obviously try to clean up all the insides. If they're straight and they clean up well, I can't see why I couldn't reuse them. But I will zoom you guys out, and I'm gonna bang out all of these. I gotta write on the other ones the number and that they're exhaust side. Okay, so we got all of our exhaust ones up to here. We have all of our intake ones. Yes, I have them all separated one by one, because if I don't end up buying new valves, which I'm hoping all of these are good, we're going to do a quick roll test on all of them, make sure none of them have a bend in them or anything. And if I reuse everything here, like, I don't know if there's a check we can do to make sure that these springs are good. Admittedly, with the supercharger, I want probably 10 to 15 pounds of boost, whatever it'll give me, right around that area, because I'm aiming for 350. So if these are still good and could handle that, because I know there's a lot of cars, a lot of E46s, 36s with an M54 sitting on that boost without any head work. These are still pretty good before you get too far. So if these come back if I can find somebody who can test them, I want to reuse as much as I can, and keeping it all like this, as you can see, that one says E1 I12, so obviously exhaust 1, intake 12. So we're all lined up, all the valves will go back exactly where they belong, same with all the springs, retainers. We'll just get new valve seals. Like I was saying, I'm aiming towards SuperTech, I believe it was. There's probably no problem with the OEM ones. I mean, these were probably leaking past. I'm pretty sure they were leaking past 500,000 kilometers on here. The OEM ones, probably more than good, but I know SuperTechs are a little bit better. I ran them on a B series, so we'll put them in here. But with that, we have all those. We have all this cleaned up. Let's roll the head over. So then we take our head. Let's flip that right over. So, obviously cylinder 1, see there's a good amount of junk right there, but our seats are ever so dirty here, so they're not sealing perfectly. We will lap all our valves in, obviously, and that should clean that up. I might even find, again, a shop to do a quick valve seat grind, just kind of touch and go on all these. I wonder if the guys who did my decking, as you can see, nice and shiny, needs a good wipe down again, but they're clearly dirty. They need a good bit of work. I'm gonna go order myself a dial indicator. We're gonna put each valve in and check our side to side and front to back. If any of them are out of spec, because there is a spec to how much play. So this one goes here. So there is a spec to that and to this. And as you can see, there is a little bit of play here. So there's obviously either the valve is worn or the guides, and it's more than likely the guides are worn because they're a softer material versus the valves. But if we put them in the intake, I've heard that's a good way to tell if your valves are bad. So if that one shows quite a bit, that's an exhaust valve. If we come over here, you grab an intake valve, I've heard, because these don't see heat, so this area doesn't get beaten up as much, or they don't see as much heat, sorry. See how little there is in here? It seems to be a lot less as I'm trying to find that. So we might just need a set of exhaust valves, more than likely. They might actually just be worn farther than expected. But also with that, just like the intake side, we're going to get down in here and we're going to smooth out these ports just a little bit, get a little bit more flow. Admittedly, the intake side, apparently there's not a lot to be gained other than smoothing out the castings. Unless you go for a full port job, like, you know, a CNC port, I'd love to do. Cheapest one I've found is like 2,000 American, and you got to ship the head off, and so it's going to be like a $5,000 job to ship this back and forth to the States. So I'm going to do the clean it up and go kind of style, because why not? We'll also clean up a bunch of this stuff just to make sure it's good, because there's no point in not having everything as mint as possible. And plus, you come over to the exhaust side, you can see that shiny area there is where the tube, or the port to the header, did sit. So how much meat we can bring these out We're gonna gasket match all of this, clean them up. I wonder if I can. The secondary air injection holes here, which goes up to here and is this long runner across here with a cap in each of these spots, because I'm assuming that's how they made their holes up and around. We're going to tap all these and put a set screw in, grind it smooth. I don't want those in there because of the fact that if this leaks, that leaks. I mean, you can make sure they're sealed up, but each one of these is like a pushed in cap. So I might even knock each and every one of those out, replace it with a bolt, more like this one, pull all those, the one right there, and cap all of this, just to ensure that there is no air going, because right now these ones can feed exhaust over to here and vice versa. So this is always hot with exhaust because right now it is essentially filling that and not coming out of here, which, you know, if you owned one of these, you know, there's that valve that sits here that always sits, and then when you first start up your car, it forces cold air down and in to heat up the cats. Well, we're not doing that anymore, so this is capped. So now this always has hot exhaust just sitting in here, which does it do a whole lot? Probably not. Probably isn't that big of a deal, but as a piece to get rid of, we're going to cap all those holes just to ensure there's no hot exhaust getting up in here for any reason. And just like that, on the intake side, which I guess before I put you away there, you can see these holes, which they run up to these ports here, which I'm not running the factory M54 intake, as it will not fit with that M90 supercharger. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to cover all these holes to ensure we get no vacuum leak with a different manifold. I'm really debated doing that to the inside holes that are in there. Run it in with a tap, put a set screw in there with Loctite, grind it smooth, and no problems of having a leak in or out of anything. These don't interconnect, so there's no problem of air or fuel getting from one side to the other, but there's no need for these holes. Since I'm not using them, I'm not using an intake that will do it, so I'll just get rid of them. Unless somebody can give me a good reason why I should keep those or have a manifold that has them. People do an M50 manifold that essentially deletes those. Might as well get rid of them. So, but with that, this is our cylinder head. All cleaned out, looking good. I know it's a nothing video, I just figured I'd show off, where'd it go, my 3D printed piece. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description to this. I printed it out of PLA, and as you saw, that's 24 valves done. Let's slide that out. And there is no damage done to this, so I'm very confident this will put it back together without an issue as well, as I dropped a bolt down there. So that's a good piece. Link in the description. I didn't make it, I found it. I've seen it for sale on Etsy, but I don't know if that's the original guy selling it printed. But I will drop a link to his, I believe it's printable.com for this piece. It took me 2.5 hours to print it with a ender, so it's a nice piece. We're going to use that. We're going to use more 3D printing to do all this. Same with when we get down into all this stuff. We're going to use as much 3D printing, custom tools to get this thing built. With that, I'd like you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. We've hit 219, 220, somewhere right there. Thank you to everybody up to this point. Hopefully we get more of you on board because we got the motor to build. I know this is going to be a slow process. M54s are not cheap to build at all. Really sucks. But we're going to build that. The E36, I'm working on a video kind of in conjunction with it. We've got to knock that rocker off there. We have our stiffening plates and our beauty plate to weld in on it. So the next video will be probably cutting the rocker off, getting the stuff cleaned off, because this side is far worse than the passenger side was. I don't know why. I really don't. I wish I had an explanation to why this side is so much worse than that side. I've got the front jack point fully caved in, jacking the car up once. That side was broken loose but never caved in. This one fully caved in on me, so probably because when this one did it, I stopped using those jack points and used the subframes. As you can see, obviously the car is flipped around. If you saw any of the shorts, we flipped it around. It's the Hover E36 again. It loves being on jack stands, sadly. But after that, we have, if I can hold this straight to me, we have some trunk area that we're gonna do. We're gonna do some cutting. I'm gonna show you where some placements to do the X brace in the back, because we're gonna tie the shock towers together to build suspension, because we need to tuck this thing up. I want to put it on air, and you guys like content like that, so I love making content like that. I'm very fabrication oriented, so that's what we'll do. But with that, like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for more content, and we'll see you next time.